It makes it au naturel. So okay, when did I meet you? It was like in August, like a couple months ago.
Yeah, end of August.
Yeah, and from what I gathered from our conversation, you're a tarot card reader, and like you read tarot cards for corporations as well too, and people. Honestly, okay, so in that month and a half since I've met you, I've had a couple mystical experiences. Like, because
Okay.
honestly, I didn't really believe in tarot cards and stuff like that a whole lot, and like mystical things and moons and astrology. But I've had a couple things happen. But I want to tell you after I ask about you. How did
Okay.
you? What's your name?
My name's Kattrina.
Okay, great. What? How did you get into it? Like, how did you start? And then,
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of always been around. I started reading when I was in like high school in grade 8. I picked up a deck of cards. I later found out that my grandma, who lived in Halifax, she was reading tarot cards for her entire town. There's a little town just outside of Halifax called Truro. And she was the town tarot reader. So I guess like I technically got it from her, but I feel like I've always been into tarot.
yeah, my aunt reads them. I've known tons of people, and I've always done it like once. I think like once a year, just to see what it says. And like
Yeah.
I'm very like agnostic in most things, but like with religion or anything, it's like I always find there's like a good message or something to think about. Or even if like
Yeah.
everything was not real, but if like the card told me to pay attention to this for the next month, that wouldn't be like the worst thing. That's how I've always seen it. But then a couple things of, and then how did you get into reading for corporate?
Um, it's less for corporate more than it is for certain entrepreneurs who are in corporate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just someone believed in me and told me that what I was telling them was accurate and it was somebody that I really cared about. And because of that, I kind of just went with it and we're still going.
Okay. So, um, so maybe it's awkward to talk about, but like
No,
we met at like we met at like an arcade, right? And I was there
yeah.
on a date with someone, and like long story short, me and her don't talk anymore, and age difference things, still cool or whatever. But after that, I had because there was a moon that came up, right? And someone
What
said,
does that mean?
um,
A moon that came up.
no, but there was a full moon that happened right after it, and I was like a little bit bummed, but like not bummed because like whatever, it was a little summer fling that like didn't go anywhere, and like I guess like I'm 29, right? So I'm trying to more so settle down in my life now. And someone was like, you have to go, and it's weird because I find there's a lot of astrological things that overlap with like what some of my really Christian friends would say, and
Yeah, I can see that.
someone like a Christian friend was like, you need to ask God and say God out loud what you want. And then another person's like, you need to go ask your guides and talk to the universe and say what you want. So I went to that full moon that happened in September. I said like 20 very specific things about the next girl I wanted to date. Like insanely specific. Like used to be blue collar, but now is like searching higher education, has the exact like has similar dark humor to me, and like has this physique and to going to the gym. And there was like 20 things. Like intimate, like very specific things, like lived a crazy life, now wants to settle down. About a week and a half later, I ran into someone at like I had a feeling to go to this library. Never gone to this library before, but my aunt was there, right? And my aunt pointed this girl out to me, and then I went and sat and talked down with her, and I said like, hey, like my aunt thinks you're cute. Like, do you mind if I sit down? And me and her talked, and it was like, okay, another thing. I always thought like past life stuff was bullshit. And then like talking to
Okay.
this person, I was like, I felt like I knew her. And this is
Okay.
like this is like I know I sound dramatic, right? But like, okay, so we ended up like talking for 6 hours that night. And it was like it felt like I knew this person from before. It felt like I made a best friend. And then we went out walking. We rode my Segway, and then we sat in this park, um, like cutesy first date stuff. And then we lay back. So we're in an area of Winnipeg where I've never seen the stars before. And so we lay back, and as soon as I lay back, I've never seen a shooting star. I saw a shooting star, And then 30 seconds later, the Northern Lights start. And she was like,
Wow.
she was freaking out. She's like, this means something. This, like this. And then she's talking about like the Northern Lights. It's like they're really hard to take images of. And it's because it's like, I don't know if you believe this, but it's like an interaction between us and people on the other side is what a lot of people believe. And,
Okay.
I remember I was with a friend and she's indigenous, and like this was like 6 years ago, but I remember she whistled at the Northern Lights and they like shimmered every time she whistled. So I was like, that's like mystical things you see, right? But no, I
Yeah.
just remember with I felt and like it was just a really nice moment to share with someone, and just like her being like, yeah, like this has to mean something, like that's the other side communicating. And then I looked it up. It was like a shooting star on a first date means that two people who met were supposed to meet.
I like that.
Yeah. And then long story short, it didn't work out. But I but it was
Oh my
like,
God.
my life was dramatic. Sorry. But like it was like, okay, so I guess but I think like we were supposed to meet because I'm just trying to like share this to relate, because it's like I didn't really believe in this stuff, and like something in the last month it made me believe in this stuff. Uh,
Okay.
and no, I just remember it was a super special moment. Like, oh my God, like this is so. And even in our last conversation, like something we both reminisced about, we're like, okay, so it's so weird how there's never stars there that night, but then that night there was that and that within like 30 seconds of each other. And it's so rare. It must mean something. And it was like, we both were like, yeah, we'll probably both remember that forever. But I think I was supposed to meet this person to realize like flaws in my character. Like, I'm a jealous bastard. I've been cheated on many times in the past. So then I realized, like,
Wow, we're really getting into it.
sorry, you know what? I don't like conversations what happen here.
No, that's okay.
I don't like. I was like, why would I pay for therapy when I can just get people on here and I'll talk about myself? I'm normally, yeah, sorry.
Fair. No, that's
Yeah.
fair.
And but it was just like, no, I just realized a lot of shit about myself. I was like, holy hell, like in order for me to like be in a good place with someone, I like, so I think God put her in my life, or the universe put her in my life to be like, yeah, dude, you're not ready. Like, I gave you what you wanted and you couldn't handle it. So then therefore, like, it's been a lot of like, do you believe in like the dark night of the soul, or?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So like, can you tell me about it? Like, I think, so from her, I realized I need to love, like, she was a chick, like she was a welder. And then one day she's just like, you know what, I'm going back to school. And then now she's studying, like she's in pre-med and she's going to be in like medical school next year. And I'm just like, holy hell, if that chick can do that. I've been struggling and procrastinating with my private pilot license for like 5 years online. And it's something about meeting her, it just clicked. And I'm like, nope, now I can do it. And then ever since the last time we talked, 2 hours a day, I've been doing it. And I think I'm moving into that dark night of the soul, because I recently moved out of the city, super lonely on a farm right now, and I'm here with my cat.
wow.
So can you tell me about the dark night of the soul?
Okay, so we're talking about the dark night of the soul, or
Yeah.
we're talking about how dating people can act as like a mirror for the self?
Actually,
because those are separate things.
Hey, like, maybe it's weird I brought this up, like, and I don't want her to like see
That's
this.
not weird.
I'm just like, no, and I'm just like, it just hit me, and I was like super, it was like I knew this chick for 2 weeks, but it was like I never connected so quick with someone so fast. And it was like, it felt like divine meeting her that night. I mean, her, like, and just I'll always remember how she was like, oh my God, this means something, this is so cool, like. And I just feeling, I didn't even take a photo of that moment because I just knew I would remember it, kind of thing. And yeah, what's dating someone? So it's like a mirror. I'd like to
Yeah. Well, I think that like dating in general is like a mirror. I feel like in general, we date people to become better versions of ourselves, for those people to act as a mirror to show like what isn't working for us. Often it shows us what's not working, and to progress, we have to get better, right? So I do think like in general, all dating is like that. It's just sometimes the experiences are a little bit more intense, like the one that you had.
Yeah, well, and then okay, so I've had three girlfriends since I've moved back like almost a year ago. I've had
You've
three,
had three girlfriends in a year?
no, flings, I would
Oh,
say.
okay. Sorry.
But
Excuse me.
and then you believe in like law of attraction and stuff, right? So
Mhm.
like, what would it mean? Okay, so and I'm not putting anyone from my past down, but it's just I find the last couple people I've dated, they just got out of a relationship themselves and they felt like it's like, so why do I keep, in your opinion, why do you think I keep meeting people that just are out of a relationship themselves? Is there something to that, or is it just like coincidence?
Well, I think that there's never coincidences. There's probably something in you that you need to heal that addresses that very specifically.
Okay.
That's what I would say to that.
Okay, to add to that, I went and saw an energy healer. And it was pretty intense. Like, because I remember sitting in the room with her and she was sweating. And then once she
Oh,
started,
she was channeling. Yeah.
yeah, I got so cold and so tired. And this was like almost a week ago, and I'm still tired from it. And I'm still like, I
Yeah.
got like really sick this week, and all this stuff
Yeah.
she told me, and she told me stuff about actually the girl I just mentioned, or the women, sorry. Um, and she told me stuff about her that there's no way she could have known it, and it just felt weird. And it's like she pulled it
Mhm.
out of me and talked about meeting in past lives and stuff. But I find, have you lived anywhere else other than Winnipeg?
No.
No. I find the dating culture here versus Montreal very different.
I've traveled quite a bit and I agree. I don't enjoy, I actually have taken a year off of dating in
Yeah.
Winnipeg. I don't want to date here.
It's hard. Okay, you know, I always joke to people. I'm like, I hate how I so I've heard a lot of people say, I want a relationship like my grandparents.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if you want that, your grandparents weren't on social media. So there's that. You got to cut that shit out. Second of all, your grandparents didn't have friends of the opposite sex that they hung around with. Like they were just like, that's what it was. It sounds hardcore and I sound jealous saying that, but it's like your grandma didn't have male best friends that she complained about your grandpa to, nor did your grandpa have the opposite. And it's like actually all things in relationships stayed in between. I find the problem with today is a couple fights, all the friend group here hears about it, all the friend group here hears about it. Then it's like you're getting these two fronts, and you only ever hear how bad the person is. I always joke to my friends, I'm like, it's, and like I found myself getting, I overthought so much in 1 week, and like I think it was like 3 weeks we knew each other. In the last week, I overthought so much. It was like pulling my life to a halt. And I'm like, this is not healthy. There's something wrong with me. There's something I gotta look at. There's something like, why am I being like this? And I'm not triggered like this by every single female I ever talked to. But I think it was like, because I was like, holy shit, this is a really cool connection. Like I really don't want to mess this up. And if I were to be honest, maybe I'm sharing too much, but um I didn't feel good enough. I had a person in my life telling me I wasn't good enough. I cut that person out like instantly after like, and they liked it when it blew up almost. It was like, oh, okay, so I cut them out of my life, and it was just like, so it made me in the last couple of weeks. I've been meditating a lot and doing like Aaron Dowdy like high vibe exercises, and I found people from my past that were good to me have like all of a sudden come back, reached out to me and stuff.
You've had a big month. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I think I met you like a month and a half ago, and it's like I've had two.
You think I was the catalyst for this?
No, nothing. No,
Okay.
no. I mean, we're but no. But I was thinking, like when I was looking at our emails, reaching out to you, I was like, and I think time slowed down. Like people can get like that and overthink, and overthinking is so horrible. Like time slowed down for me. Like a week felt like 3 months, and then when I look back at certain things, I met you a month and a half ago, yet it felt like 6 years ago
It feels like a really long time ago. Yeah.
because of the overthinking. I don't know. I think maybe September and October were a weird month for everyone.
Yes.
But why are you taking a break from dating? Just like the harshness of it, or
It's just Winnipeg, purely just Winnipeg. The culture here, like the apps are bad. I don't feel inspired by the people here, and I find that the partners that I feel I gravitate towards are people who are very passionate, and I don't know. Maybe it's just in my experience, but in the places that I go to and the people I was meeting on apps, I wasn't
What's your
finding that here.
well? The last couple of people I've met, it's been not on apps, so I'm really happy about that. It was like friend of a friend or like her at
Yeah.
the library. Another one was like a barista. And I feel
Yeah, I
like
remember I read your like human design chart that day I met you. I was like, give me your details, and you thought it was for astrology. But what you're saying makes sense. For your type, it actually, you shouldn't meet strangers. You should actually find people through connections and like friends of friends. That's safer
okay,
for
I've
you.
never heard that. And you know what?
Yeah.
Obviously, I overshare. You can tell from like the 5 minutes we've been talking. I just
So
like
5 minutes.
I hate lies. I hate like, and you know what my problem, and like a lot of people are like, Mac, you gotta fucking tone it down, like calm down. But like, I think like I do this a lot, and it's like on the first dates, I'll be like, yeah, so this is my flaws, this is my anxiety. I hate putting on a front. I read somewhere like you have to be your piece of shit self from the get go, and like I've dated people that like, and that's the thing about social media and today is people like me and you could find a lot we disagree about politically or like anything really. And I find that like there's a lot of things where it's like, oh, if this guy likes this or if this girl likes this, that's a red flag. So therefore we can't talk or date. And it's like, I think if you're dating someone, you don't need to vote for the same party. You don't need to have, I think men naturally are harsher like in biology, like we tend to be, I think men tend to be more conservative than women in most cases. And I think that's a difference and that's okay. Or it can be. Maybe you date different guys or something, but I find it's rare to find like a conservative woman. And I'm like, you know, it's okay if someone like I would say I'm politically more conservative. But and I'm like, it's okay for there to be, we don't need to talk about these things, or it's interesting to talk about, but you can agree and disagree kind of thing.
You
Um,
could find a partner that feels the same way. Yep.
yeah, and I definitely have. Uh, so do you think maybe it's like the people that you've been attracted to? That's why like they keep.
No, I don't love this city. I've been saying since I was like in high school that I wanted to get out, and I travel as much as I can. I'm going to be going to Europe next month, and yeah,
That's cool.
I yeah, I don't know. It's just the city for me, the energy here. There's like a very specific frequency. I talked to one of my other psychic friends, and she also talks about how it's a very interesting energy in this city.
Interesting how.
Um, the mindset is like the general mindset is quite limiting. Have you ever been on the Winnipeg Reddit?
Yeah, and I think it's hilarious. And I feel like I don't fit in here, and I felt like I fit in really well in Montreal, but it's just more because there's more people there. And like I'm about to do a video about like the different, like for one, the dating is so much different. I think I can be a little too romantic, and I like when I like someone, like I'll have people in my life like casually as friends, and I always joke to my friends, I was like, I swear it's like easier to text 5 girls than it is one, because it's like five, it's like, oh, none of this is serious and this is just fun. But like I find it hard to text one that has all my attention. And I found the culture in Quebec, I could be way more romantic and do more things. And it was like adored there. While I've heard the word love bombing once here, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm doing that, but I'm like, okay, maybe I need to reel it back a bit. This city's, it's interesting because it's like Winnipeg started as a port city, right? And in Montreal, everything I needed was 15 minutes away in a walk.
Why don't you live there? Why are you here?
I moved back when I worked in.
Why?
Because I like pain. I like the cold. I don't know. No. So my French is not the best. I was out there. I moved. Someone I met through film. She wanted to move here for me, and she was from Quebec. And I was like, no way. And she was a little bit older than me. She was like 10 years older. I was 25. She was 35. And I was like, no, if you come here and we don't work out and you have to go back, then you're restarting. If I go there and then I have to come back, it's less harder for me to restart. That was
But why did you come back?
Okay. So I wanted to stop working in film. I lost all passion for working in cinema. I worked on movie sets for like 12 years.
Yeah.
And I wanted to switch and like there the language barrier made it impossible. Like I've survived in film because a film set and lighting is the same everywhere, whether there's a language barrier. I worked mostly on American films there. I came back because I wanted to switch careers, and like I'm a crane operator now. I couldn't have done it there. There's a big prejudice against Anglophones, and I couldn't have. They only offer this trade in French. I don't know French well enough to learn a trade. Also, the process there, and everything's harder in Quebec. Here, you can be homeless and become an electrician by just working for an electrical company, and then they eventually hire you as an apprentice, and they send you to school 7 weeks, and you come back and you work. In Quebec, it's way harder. You got to do all the school all at once. You got to get a company to sponsor you for 5 years, and it's just like it's a big thing. Here, I moved back, and in 2 days, I was signed up for the apprenticeship program, and then like 6 months later, I was in school, and a year later, it's like I'm almost a level 2, and it just everything goes in the prairies. It's Wild West, and it goes fast. There's less rules. You want to build a deck in Quebec, you have to phone 12 government agencies. You want to build a deck in Alberta or Manitoba, you just build a deck. You might have.
So you're here because it's easier.
Yes.
Even though you're miserable.
I'm not miserable. I find it's okay. I was telling someone, like, I'm not that poo-poo about anything, but like I've had 3 flings here not work out, right? And I find it harder to get over people because there's like 6 places to take a woman here, like, or to go as a date somewhere. And like, so everywhere reminds me of these people. While in Montreal, I was constant like news things popping up in nature, and there was like 80 different parks to walk in. Their worst park is better than our best park. I live by 2 canals. I live right by the St. Lawrence River. I live by all these small businesses. The street I lived on was like rated by Forbes as like top 5 places to live in the world. So it was like easy to get over stuff. I
don't think you should be here.
Myself, I invited you.
No, I just don't think that often happens because of energy dynamics, because I'm a projector in human design, which is fine. But I will say that I don't think you should be here from what you've shared with me.
I think I'm moving out west eventually. I don't know.
Why would you move out west if you just spent like the last 10 minutes talking about Montreal?
I miss it, but I might go back if I get my ticket here. But there's a simplicity here. I hate how
it's a trap. The city, my friend has this way of describing Winnipeg, and he's like, if you stay too long, it will get its claws in you.
It's a crab bucket. And I found like in any industry, so working here in film, I loved Montreal and Toronto much better. I found the crew here was more insecure. They put people down. They didn't want to see people succeed. I succeeded much better. And you know what? Everyone laughed. You want to know something? I heard from my some coworkers that like I cut a lot of people out from Winnipeg, but like, so I basically disappeared one day when I went to Montreal, and there was just a rumor that I like got on drugs and I like was homeless. And it's like I was in Montreal working on like some of the biggest films to ever come to Canada. Like I worked on Transformers, like the most recent one, and like I have to still go see it because I did the mechanical movement of the camera on that one, and it's just like people I found even when I did stand-up comedy, people didn't like it when people leaved and succeeded here. And I do like Winnipeg. Like there's a harshness here I do adore. And when I was in Montreal, I felt way tougher for some reason. And like there was like something about being from Winnipeg, like that, like I don't know. Where are you moving to? I think I would like Calgary or Texas. I don't know.
I don't actually want to be in Canada. I want to spend the next 20 to 30 years outside of Canada.
Where do you want to go?
Honestly, I'll go anywhere. I'm just waiting to find the right partner. And wherever they live, I will follow them. Just anywhere but Canada.
Are you, if you don't mind me asking, of Caribbean descent?
No.
Okay, well, I look fucking silly because I was going to say like...
I'm Métis and Black.
Okay.
But not from the Caribbean.
Am I the first person that's asked that?
No.
Okay. Do you want to tell me about the Dark Night of the Soul?
What do you want me to tell you about the Dark Night of the Soul?
From what I understand, I'm going to give my perspective, which I feel will be wrong, and you correct me. I think it's like a time period in your life where you have almost extreme loneliness and you have to face yourself more. You have to look at yourself more in the mirror. And I find I'm a person that I think I can annoy my friends because I think I feed off of other people's energy. I'm very extroverted in a lot of ways. And I think that's why I go to the gym and I end up talking to people more than I work out. Oh, by the way, speaking of Winnipeg, in the last year, I've gained 30 pounds of muscle, or 25, because here people either do drugs or go to the gym. And I've gained a good 25 pounds of muscle in a year because there's something.
I feel you say these like very polarizing things, and I feel like that might just be your filter. It might not actually be how reality is.
No. Multiple choice history and past, I guess. I don't know. No, I don't know. Like, what am I saying with polarizing? I like Winnipeg. There's things about it I like, but it's funny because all the famous people from here, they had to move away. It's a port city.
Yeah.
You like the Panama Canal of North America, and now we are the center port again. It's a great place. It's easy to live. It's easy to get a trade. It's very blue collared. But it's not. It's in a weird spot of like, it's not cool like Calgary. Like if you think of cool blue collared cities, I think of Calgary and Edmonton.
But it's also not as big as those cities, right?
We're almost there. We have an IKEA, you know, we have the Jets. We're almost cool. We almost have stuff. And like, I didn't like Toronto. I liked Montreal. I liked how nature was engulfing. I liked how I could ride my bike 10 minutes downtown and it was quicker to go downtown by bike than car. Like I thought that was insane. And I liked the metro and I liked walking around at 4 a.m. hammered and feeling no fear. I don't do that here at like 9 p.m. It's very scary here. And it's probably even scarier for women. My cousin, who's like 5'2", 100 pounds, said she loves Montreal and loves walking around by herself there.
Yeah.
But was my depiction of the Dark Night of the Soul accurate? Probably not.
I mean, nothing is polarizing right or wrong. My perception, or my take on the Dark Night of the Soul is that it's actually a really beautiful time. And I don't think there's just one, by the way. I think that there can be many. But there's this really popular manifestation coach that I follow. And she talks about how it's one of the most beautiful times in your life because when you're in a point that's like so low, the only way to go is up. So you can only build from it. And while it is a really challenging time where you're faced with mirrors and you have to face some hard truths about yourself, because I do feel like that period of time, you're transmuting a lot of things, which just means that you're taking what doesn't work and you're making it into something that works better. And yeah, I don't know. I think even though it's hard, it's good.
So I don't regret moving back though. I find myself in a career. I didn't like film. I found a lot of people were very passive aggressive. They're nice on the surface, but they just want you to fail. And they're so passive aggressive and they talk to you like you're an idiot. And when you're around celebrities and producers, they even post Me Too, they are still treated like gods. If you're on set and a high-end actor is walking, you're supposed to bow out of their way. And everyone in front of the actors is really nice to each other. But when the actors leave, it's like there's like a constant culture of putting each other down, even in the more professional cities I've worked in. And while with craning, everyone's an asshole. Even the guy that owns the company, everyone's an asshole. Everyone's rough, but like, I think it's because the work is so dangerous. Even the people that I don't quite like that much at my work, we have each other's backs because what we do is so dangerous. And I enjoy it more and I feel more accomplished kind of thing. And so that's what's going well for me in my life. I have more friends coming back to me in my life and I have a better vibe. Like honestly, while I was seeing this person, I felt I had such a good vibe that like girls at the gym would like gravitate towards me. And I wasn't even hitting on them. I was just being friendly. And then I found the week I started to overthink and then I lost her because I was being a dickhead. I felt like I put out such a needy energy that like everyone just backed off from me, like for a moment. Like there was a week I felt so low. My good true friends were there for me no matter what. But like all these girls that were so interested in me all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden they're just like, whoosh. And it's the energy you put out. Like I do believe in that stuff. I do believe in manifest. There was a time when I was in Montreal, I thought of all these random people in my life. This like random dude in Winnipeg that works at Quest Music, this my old neighbor that used to live by me in Montreal, and like my old friend that I used to play guitar with. And then 3 days later, I go to a punk rock festival, and these 6 people I thought of that week, all very random and from 3 different cities, were all at this one show. And they followed the band, and like my old neighbor was there. And then recently there was this guy that worked at Spring Hill. He had like tattooed eyes. I was like, well, and I saw him like 6 years ago, and I've always like thought of his tattooed eyes. I was like, oh, I wonder what he's up to. And then a day later at Mountain Bean, he shows up. I'm like, so that's weird, right? Like, and I'm like, that could be coincidence. And then my mind connects it, or I'm like, maybe there's something to that. If someone's good at manifesting, what does that mean?
That they're good at manifesting.
Um,
I don't know what specifically your question is.
I don't know. Like, does that mean that they? I don't know. Like, you. Okay. So, what else about my chart? Did you remembered my chart, right? I actually forgot that you did that, but
I remember like very small pieces of it. Yeah.
So, why is someone like me should not meet strangers?
Because you have a 2-4 profile, which we're talking about human design. In that, it just talks about how people who you know are generally safer than people you don't. It's like, have you ever heard of the ick?
Like how girls get the ick when a guy calls.
Yeah, it's kind of like for 2-4s, strangers give you the ick.
Yeah, but you don't give me the ick. I sat down with.
But we've talked so much, and we were introduced in a group setting, and it was a safe space there. And because we've been talking, I'm not technically like a stranger. Like,
yeah, but we haven't been talking. We've been talking like on email. I don't know, like.
But I'm not like someone you're cold calling, like, what my face looks like, what my voice sounds like. You've met me in person. I'm not like somebody without legs. You know what I'm saying?
I guess I could agree, but I find like anyone that knows me, they know that I'm like extremely good at like conversating with strangers. And
that's just because you're good at talking to them doesn't mean they make you feel safe. Those are different things.
Okay. That's interesting. What other services do you practice?
I do, like, I took an energy healing course, so I can do energy healing. I'm not right now. Do tarot reading, and then I have my human design readings that I do on the side.
That's really cool. And then you just do those privately, or?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. What is there anything you want to talk about? I feel like I'm missing. I had questions lined up, and then we did this so quick, which actually I don't mind. I like the naturalness of. I feel like this is how real conversations go. I hate when things are overly planned. I like when people just meet and talk, and yeah. But I've had weird dreams recently too. Maybe I shouldn't talk, but okay, now. See, sometimes I'm like, no, you should stop. Okay, so here's something. When I went to that moon thing, I definitely like asked for my wife, right? And I was like, I want to meet my next wife. See, all that mystical stuff about like, okay, I was like, I want a girl with a big butt. I want a girl that's like very fit. I want a girl who has a humor like me. I want a girl who lived a hard life, doesn't like gets like not talking to some of her family, had a weird family dynamic like me growing up, had this, had that, lived a life of like experience and exploration, but now they want to settle down. And like there was about 10 other things. So these things would have all been cool to say, but I like, and there's rules of dating, there's rules of engagement. And I guess like me, I'm silly. When I really like someone, I throw those all out. And I got too excited with her too quick. And I told her, I was like, yeah, like I told her about the moon thing. And then I was like, but I told her about the wife stuff too. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't have told her that, because then that probably seemed a little too heavy off this.
Yeah, but I would challenge that if you met someone who was right for you, that wouldn't scare them. So that probably just
it was like I said that within the first 2 weeks, and then that wasn't. I didn't mean it as in like, oh, so we're gonna be husband and wife now. It was just like I did ask this guy to try and meet my next wife. Okay, I think you're true. I think you're correct. But have you dated like a range of guys, or do they seem to be the same? Because yeah, you're just giving up on Winnipeg.
It's just the energy here, how people think here, and I personally don't feel inspired. It could just be me, but in astrology, there's, I don't know if you know this, there's like this map. It's called astrocartography, and it actually tells you.
Please tell me.
Yeah, it's astrocartography, and you can basically put your information in, and it shows you on this map where you do best in the world. And Winnipeg isn't one of those places for me.
Okay. What is this? I'm gonna write this down. I'll look this up. I wonder. Okay. I didn't do the best in Montreal though. Like I struggled and I felt really dumb because of the language barrier. I found I had more. I found going there and coming back. It's funny because someone at my work was like, I couldn't imagine you being grumpy or not chill because you're always chill. But like 10 years ago, I think I had like severe anger problems and I was like very not chill. But I think going somewhere for 3 years and getting shit on constantly and people just not liking me for like, and it like, if I were to be honest, I don't think it's the same thing, but it's like it opened my eyes to what prejudice might be like to experience. Cause like obviously I'm in a group that maybe doesn't experience it, but going there and being like a second class citizen because of being an Anglophone and just like shit, just like people just not liking my face and not liking me because of where I come from. It was like, oh, fuck, this is what that's like. And it's like, and so that made me, but I got to leave, right? So but it made me hilariously more patient because I just had to be more patient because I can't be the guy freaking out and getting mad because it'd be like, oh, look, Anglophones are dramatic. We said, and so it gave me.
How were
like,
you there for 3 years and not learn the language?
I did learn the language, like, but yeah, but I don't. I speak French like a 3-year-old. I understand it very well. I cannot conversate in groups if people talk fast. The Quebec accent's really different too. I could conversate with people from France. A lot of
because I speak French and yeah, the French and
comme vache du espagnol.
oh god.
Yeah, I know. I have such a thick accent. I found dating there was easier for me because when I spoke French, I've obviously a very thick accent, like an Anglophone accent, and girls thought that was like the cutest thing ever.
That's funny.
But I missed that part. No, and I didn't get into group conversation. I can do one-on-one very slow. But I think the problem is with it being in North America and everyone, if I went to France and I met people, so the best language experience I had was when I was on a Quebecois show, really far out of the city. And I was working with like dudes that were like separatists and they refused to speak English with me. They're like, nope, fuck you. Pas anglais. And those 3 weeks of me having to think in French, talk in French, and just communicate overall in French, that was the best lesson I had. But I found when I went there and I talked to like storefront people, they would always switch to English because they heard my accent. Like they wouldn't even like entertain it because I think they get annoyed by tourists, right? So I found there wasn't true immersion in Montreal. I think that's why. And I had 3 different French girlfriends there and we always practiced, but you're just smarter but you grew up bilingual, right?
I went to a bilingual high school.
Okay. Would you say you're smarter? Like I think in English, I'm smarter in English. I just felt dumber. So that's where my anger problems went away. Like I had to deal with being just dumber and having to be more patient and just getting shit on all the time. Then I moved back here where it's like life is on easy mode again. So I'm like, there's no reason to be mad about anything. Everything's just a problem to be solved. Like that's how I see it now, right? Well, I'm like, it was like 10 times harder over there for me. If I could get like an internet business and then move there, I would. I just didn't enjoy working there as much.
That's fair.
Yeah. Would you move to Montreal?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where on your star correlation map does it say that you should live?
Paris, Southeast Asia. Yeah. There's a few of them. I mean, there's like, it's based off of where planets hit that part of your chart. So different parts of the world would bring different things. So there are some places where you might date better. There are some places where you might be able to communicate better. There are some places where you'll make more money, right. And they're not always the same.
Where's this thing? What's this Mercury retrograde thing I always hear so much about?
It's just when Mercury is moving backwards. It happens every 3 months.
Okay, but what does it do like to people, do you think?
Well, Mercury rules communication, it rules technology, it rules transportation. So it just slows all of that down.
Yeah. And then would you believe that people on like the full moon affects people?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like in what ways?
Well, I mean, tsunamis aren't they isn't it by the moon? aren't like all the big water things from the moon.
Yeah. Well, okay. So a lot of people could say something like me believing that the full moon uh, affects people, but like stats don't lie. Facts are facts. There's more people in the emergency room during full moons.
Yeah.
I
I worked on the passenger train, and the full moon when I was working on that train was crazy.
Oh yeah, that okay. That's where we had him. You worked at something something rail, and then I was like, oh my god, yeah, I forgot about all that.
Yeah.
And okay, so me personally, I realize like I get more arguments with people, and my aunt will always point out she's mystical too, and so she'll be like, "Oh, it's because of the full moon." I'm like, "Oh, stop that! This is nonsense." But then it's like, yeah, I always get into fights with people, and like I find text arguments happen way more, and all these things happen. So is there anything else you want to mention? I hope this was productive for you. Sorry, I basically
I
just
don't
talked.
know. That's okay. I didn't have an agenda for this. I was just gonna let you lead.
Oh, okay. No, it was nice. Like it was interesting meeting you, and I don't know. I think time's weird. I think overthinking's weird. I hope this story wasn't that weird to share.
No.
Because I don't know. It was like a very harsh lesson. Maybe I shouldn't tell the internet about it, but it's like I didn't nothing that embarrassing happened. It was just like I got too excited. I got jealous over small things, and then it was like, holy shit! I kind of torpedoed something, and it's like I realized I need to practice self love more. And I'm
Sure.
29, and I just torpedoed like it was weird. It was weird. I've walked away from people that I've dated for 4 months and didn't even feel a thing, or I've walked away from a year relationship, didn't feel that much, but it's like this one hurt. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense. It was like 2.5 weeks, but I think it was because of the divine feelings around like the first couple nights. And I guess,
I think you're also in your Saturn return right now.
what is
So
that? Please tell me more about that.
there's just like a period of 3 years that happens every 30 years that they always say like Saturn wants you to do better. So all the things that are happening in your life that um I would say aren't of like the highest purpose for you, Saturn will challenge that. So, like a lot of people will break up during this time. A lot of people will switch careers. They'll move. It's just because like what they were doing wasn't in their worth wholly before.
Well, I switched careers and
Maybe that job wasn't. Oh yeah, you said you switched careers, right?
yeah, I'm in a trade um and then obviously this person being in my life and seeing how hard they studied and they made me feel smart enough. Like in that time with them, they made me feel smart enough that yeah, you can totally finish this course online. And I've always wanted my private pilot. Like I have my solo, like I've flown I think 5 times by myself in a plane with no
Mm-hmm.
instructor. And I just like it's been like it's one of those things. I need to finish this or else I'll hate myself the rest of my life. And the longer you drag it out, the more expensive it gets, the more you have to go back and relearn stuff if you take a month off. So the next 2 months of my life are working, going to the gym, and doing this course and doing the odd dabbling in YouTube stuff. But
That's good.
where can people find you? And like, do you have any books or anything or online services?
Yeah, just through my Instagram, which is my full name at Katrina Byard.
Okay, I'll put all that down below. Um,
Thanks.
yeah, no, it was nice meeting you. No, it was interesting meeting you. And then, my God, have a lot of things in your life happened since last time I saw you?
You know what? I am just like really taking this year slowly. So I've been hermiting.
Why?
We're good over here. I feel like the next part of my life is going to be very big. So I am letting myself rest until then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't, does that happen normally after energy healings? Like, are people like very tired and
Yeah.
gets this is sick? Maybe the sickness was separate, but
No, that could be the same thing. You're just releasing what was in your body that that person moved for you.
yeah, no, it was weird. And like I remember like feeling like violently sick during it. I'm like, and then like, okay, so I'm a skeptic too. Like I believe in stuff, but I'm like, I watch out for snake oil salesmen. And I'm like, okay, there has to be something like going on in this room. Like, why do I feel so cold all of a sudden? And like, why? Maybe it's like, and I've been hypnotized. I actually got hypnotized recently. I got hypnotized in Montreal. And that was super intense. And then like recently I got hypnotized and that was like an extremely intense experience. So
Wow.
another mystical person. So I guess you know what I guess I should end it before we get boring. But no, it was nice meeting you, Kattrina, and I hope I don't know. That sucks to hear that you think men or that people are not that well. You don't think people are uninteresting, but it's just not your vibe, Winnipeg.
Yeah, it's just that I think it's just more so the place. I don't think it has anything to do with the people because I'm sure if somebody else moved here for the first time, there would be a lot of people and places that would be exciting to them. It's just not for me.
I like coming back because it's like I know every square inch of this city. There's things that I grovel about here all the time. Like there's no public transport or there it's like horrible here. While in Montreal, you can get anywhere in like 10 minutes via public transport. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I I don't know, like so a lot of my girlfriends that I felt more close to were foreigners, like they were not from here. And like so maybe that says like I've dated someone from Israel. The girl I was engaged to and dated for 3 years and moved to Quebec for, she was from Quebec. And I think it was I'm not like a dating expert or anything, but clearly not. Clearly I shit the bed and fumble all the time. But I think it was something like because we were so far from each other. And then when we finally got to see each other, like I think people take people for granted here almost. Like, and it's annoying. Okay, so let's say I dated one of your friends, and because Winnipeg's so small, and it's like then it's like all the girls in that friend group for like the next 10 years are off limits because no one wants to date someone who dated their friend, right? And I find maybe that
you don't take out like a period of time off of dating.
I'm trying. You know what? Okay, before I met last lady, I was like, I'm not dating anymore. I'm not doing this. This is stupid. I don't like this anymore. Someone's like, go do the moon thing, and then maybe someone will pop up. But like all my flings here, like before them, I was like, I'm not dating anymore. I'm taking a break. I'm focusing on me. And then in that time period, something pops up. Anytime I go looking for anything, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but that's not what I mean. I mean, like, actually, if you say that, you are now literally not giving your number away. You're not searching for anything. You are dating yourself. You're taking yourself to movies. You're taking yourself to dinner. You date yourself and you commit to that time period. And there's proven research that if you do this, you'll find that people become more magnetized to you because they can see that that commitment is there. It's like the energy we were talking about. So it's all about proving to yourself that you're worth dating on your own. And
yeah. I've actually, I don't think I've gone to a movie with someone. I go to movies like once.
Well, whatever you do when you're dating, I mean, just like do that with yourself. Like you can hang out with your friends, just don't date. Take like a month off.
Yeah, no, I find I like hanging out with myself, and it's more of I hate waiting on other people, and it's more like because I find people in Winnipeg are especially flaky, and I definitely like I don't even like to ask people to go to a movie because people are like, oh, I gotta watch the trailer first, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, or like let's go see the comedian at Rumors. It's like, oh, I gotta find him on the internet or not, or we gotta do this. And to me, with a movie or comedy, if it's good or bad, it's still entertaining. Like I used to do stand-up comedy. It's a sick pleasure of mine to watch someone bomb. And like sometimes I rewatch sets of mine where I bombed and it's like so funny to me because the awkwardness of like me trying to tell a joke and it not sticking. It's like, I like that. So I find any experience is an experience. And like, so when I was with that person I was with and like we sat down, she kind of thought that was weird that we sat down. I was like, why? It's like they'll turn out to be nice or they'll turn out to be assholes. And either one's a good story. If you guys were all assholes, that would have been a story to tell people, you know, like, so I think I look at it that way. It's like, I like rushing, like just going, like I have a video where I got to ask Trudeau. It was weird. I got like 5 minutes alone with Trudeau.
Cool.
And he was like, and I'm obviously I'm not of the political supporter of him, but I got to ask him a question and it was cool because like the National Post made a museum or made an article, but I got to talk to him and he was like, well, why did you come today if you're not a supporter? I was like, I don't know, it was cool. Like I wanted to get a selfie with you. Like you're a cool dude. I don't really like your politics, but he's like, hey, that's fair, I guess. And I was like, I don't know. Like, but I don't know, do you have any questions for me? Are there any suggestions based on my star? I keep hearing, so I'm a Cancer Gemini. So I'll follow your advice. I'm going to not date anyone for 2 months.
That's a big commitment from what you've just told me. Maybe you should put 1 month and commit to that fully.
You want to know something funny? There's this weird energy with men, or I just find it. I'm either like really good with girls or I'm just not. And like my last period of my life, I guess because I'm more charismatic and more out there, I've had lots of girls come in and out of my life, and I've like, and but then there's been periods in my life where I try really hard to get a girlfriend and like can't talk to someone for like 6 months. But I think maybe make more friends is a goal.
You're
Uh,
writing down make more friends.
yeah, more friends, maybe more female friends, female friends that I just see as friends or something. I don't know. Um, and okay, so I kept hearing, do you think you can guess what sign I am?
You just told me you're a Cancer.
Okay, so wow, I'm not good at this. Well, I'm a Cancer Gemini cusp, and my buddy's like, oh, like it didn't work out because probably because of her sign is off. Do you believe in that? Do you think signs need to be compatible?
I think about human design, and I
Okay.
would think like because there's just different aspects to it, and if your energy doesn't click with that person's energy, then there would be some turbulence for sure.
What kind of female should I look for based on my chart, if you can remember?
I don't know if I could like give you a type, but definitely someone that is introduced to you through one of your friends.
Introduced through friends. Writing this down. Um, No, because like on dating apps, like a dude like me, okay, I'm like a 7 out of 10. I'm not like a 10 out of 10. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not 6 foot.
We're using the rating system.
Yeah,
Oh
well,
my
I'm being
god.
honest here. Like I can like some girls find me very attractive, but overall, I'm not like very attractive to all girls. Like I have a type, I have a face, I have a physique that some girls find very. I'm more of a charisma in person. I have like no power over text. So like
I
that's
just
like,
told you shouldn't be on dating apps.
I know, so I'm agreeing with you. So then therefore, like I hate dating apps, and I've never like I actually think I have like 100 matches on Hinge, and all the conversations are going nowhere. I'm like I don't know what the hell to say. I like talking in person. Like I feel like me and you were so different, but it's like I like talking, like, and this isn't face to face, but it kind of is. It's someone who's introduced to friends. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 30.
Okay, because I was gonna see. I thought you were like 22, and
Yeah, a lot of people think I'm way younger than I am,
but like you're
which
an
I
old
love.
soul, or I feel you feel very wise. So I was like, she must be older. Everyone thinks I'm like 19 still because I have a baby face, but I'm like 29. Uh, Introduced through friends. I'm gonna take 2 months off dating. I think. Well, I don't know, and I think like so I wasn't like upset about it not working out. I was just like so upset about myself, like realizing that I have so much to work on. And it's like, so that like, I don't really like, I go to Good Life on Refinery where there's like a bunch of Instagram models, and I don't feel like attraction towards anyone right now. I don't feel like talking to girls. I think I'm very shut down because it's like, not like I'm hurt that didn't work out. It's more like I'm just hurt about like, it's like, okay, I need to really fix myself and learn to date myself more before going. Like it's like I think I'm almost like afraid to date right now because it's like I don't feel ready. Even I think in the past I've been ready, but like being cheated on, having this or that, these things have affected a person, right?
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to a Cancer when dating?
A Cancer or you?
Me. That's just specifically me. Someone was like,
From what you've shared with me so far,
and the internet.
the biggest thing that sticks out to me is how affected you were by not feeling good enough. So I would explore that
Yeah.
and try to be aware when that comes up when you're dating someone, because that could definitely take a wrecking ball to it if you're not aware that it's happening.
Accomplished quite a bit in her life, but it's still unhealthy to think you're not good enough. And I mean, I had a friend in my ear whispering, and that person's gone. So, and then like I don't know, like I someone kept saying like, oh, like I think I give like a very strong front to people, and um, I think I have like a douchey, not appearance, but like I can have a douchey vibe, and I can be. I don't want to say it, but like almost Andrew Tate-esque when talking to girls at first, but like deep down, I'm very soft. Like I'm just like a soft little boy, and I just want to be
Andrew Tate-esque. Okay.
like, um, And I had someone comment that I hate the word alpha male, but like I was seeing someone, it was like last year, they're like, you come off like such an alpha male, so douchey, but like you're actually like kind of really needy. And I was like, yeah, that's
kind of harsh.
yeah, but I guess I don't know. One time I sat down at Pull Park across from a female. I asked because there was like I didn't want to take up a whole table, and me and her were talking, and she was obviously someone with. She was like a very punk rocking looking person, like bangs, purple hair, and we were talking, and it's funny because she had a bit of a thing against men for a bit, and like she openly talked about it and admitted it. But for every story she had about a shitty boyfriend, I had the same story for a girlfriend. She's like, I took care of someone for like 3 months when they broke their leg. I did everything for them. And this guy cheated and left. And I was like, oh, I took care of someone when they had a knee surgery and she cheated and left. And I guess and then she said, like, I hate men and I want to be more bitter towards men. And I was like, and then I said, like, would you date me though? And she's like, no. I was like, well, why not? And I was like, am I an asshole? And she said, no, you're very kind and well-spoken. And I was like, I think what both our problems are is that what we like and what we're attracted to is hurting us. It's not that men or women are bad. It's just the women that I have dated in the past that have cheated and the men that have cheated on you are the problem. And we're attracted to that. We're attracting that and we're attracted to it. And so it's more an us thing, not a male or female thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm really all over the place. And even if I had a script, I couldn't follow it.
That's fine. I didn't have any plans for today.
Okay. Like I thought this would be a 10-minute thing. And how long is it? Oh my God. It's been like an hour and a half. So look at that. No, but thanks, Kattrina. Like, thanks for, sorry, I'm such a dickhead. I thought I'd ask more questions about you, but I wanted to share my mystical experiences. Sorry.
That's fair.
Like you would say that means something, right? Like the shooting star, Northern Lights.
Yeah. I think I would challenge though that anytime you feel that something means something, then it probably does.
Yeah. And I didn't think of it as like, oh, we must be together forever or this or that. And it was just like, I think I was supposed to meet that person. And that experience like knocked me on my ass. And it's like, I will end with an Andrew Tate quote.
Oh no.
But there's a quote I like where he said, God made you fall in love and her leave you so that you can realize what a dickhead you are. And I feel like that we didn't fall in love. We only knew each other a short period of time, but it was like, I feel like I asked the universe for something and it gave me something. And then it was like, you're not ready. You're a dickhead. You need to work on yourself. You need to fix your. I can't
believe you just quoted Andrew Tate. This is the most unexpected podcast I have ever participated in.
Well, what do you normally?
I think you owe me $150 for this therapy session.
This has been. I asked you like 3 questions. Come on. Makes me want to not. Anyways, I feel like whatever. Yeah. So. Okay, what other podcasts have you been on? Like, what is it like there? Like, I don't know.
That's for me to know.
Okay, great. Anyways, thank you, Kattrina. Sorry that this has been like a half an hour goodbye.
Yeah. Enjoy your pickleball.
Thank you. I'm pretty late to it now. So anyways, no, thanks. Sorry about the therapy.